Healing Minds and Souls, a faith-based community dedicated to bringing trauma-informed care to the North Nashville community and surrounding areas through education, resources, and building relationships to develop healthy and a holistic community. Pastor Ella Clay will be talking about how we can stop allowing fear to overtake us regardless of our past, present, or future. Come and learn how to recognize signs and symptoms of trauma as we understand the emotional, physical, social, and spiritual impact of traumas. We will unpack the meanings of vicarious traumas and how to avoid moral injury as we actively avoid re-traumatizing ourselves and others. Let's learn together how to navigate life challenges of grief, trauma, pain, and/or isolation, and discover our innate strengths of courage, kindness, trust, perseverance, and become better equipped to experience a newfound confidence by not letting circumstances define our current existence or future selves. Join our show today with Pastor Ella Clay. She serves as senior pastor of the historic First Community Church and executive director of Healing Minds and Souls, 1815, Knoll Street, Nashville, Tennessee, 37208.
Good morning. We welcome you to Healing Minds and Souls. We pray that the blessings of the Lord is upon you and is making you rich and it adds no sorrow. We'll be right back with you after we hear from our sponsors.
Welcome to the Jefferson Street Sound Museum. Come on in. What we've got here's some of the folk that actually played on Jefferson Street, like D. Ford Bailey. D. Ford Bailey was one of the first blacks to play the Grand Ole Opera. And what I'm doing is building a legacy for the artists and musicians that played here on Jefferson Street that didn't get their just due or didn't make it to stardom while over here on Jefferson Street, like some of the artists and musicians that played over here, like Jimi Hendrix, Count Basie, Aretha Franklin, like Joe Tex, Little Richard, James Brown. Enlightened about what took place over here on historical Jefferson Street. We have pictures of different folk that came in here and visited. We have memorabilia. We have an area where we've got t-shirts, keychains, books, a number of different things that you can find to purchase, to take home a souvenir from the Jefferson Street Sound Museum.
Are you looking for something new and exciting to do in North Nashville? Look no further than the North Nashville Station. We feature a wide variety of events from the area, ranging from music festivals to art exhibits. Plus, we always have something new and different to offer each week. Come experience the unique culture that North Nashville has to offer with the North Nashville Station. Are you looking for a way to successfully advertise your business or ministry? Look no further than North Nashville's online TV station. Our platform gives you the opportunity to showcase your business or ministry to a wide range of viewers. With our advertising service, you get access to creative professionals who can help spread your message and reach potential customers in a cost-effective manner. We understand the importance of creating an impactful advertisement, and we are committed to helping you achieve your goals. Are you looking for a pediatric dentist who can provide the best possible care for your child or children? At Smiley Dental Associates, we understand the importance of providing access to quality dental care. Our team of experienced and certified specialists is committed to providing an exceptional service that is tailored to meet the needs of each individual patient. We prioritize your child's comfort, safety, and education to ensure that your child will receive the highest standard of oral health care. With a focus on prevention and early detection, we use the latest technology and techniques to ensure your child or children will receive the highest quality of care. Our team is dedicated to building trusting relationships with our patients, so you can rest assured that your child or children are in good hands. Call us at 615-321-5600, that's 615-321-5600, or visit us at 2026 Clifton Avenue North, Nashville, Tennessee, 37203. Or schedule an appointment today and witness the Smiley Dental difference.
I am so excited on this morning. I have one of my most favorite person here with me on this morning, and she just happens to be my beloved daughter, in whom I am well pleased, and I believe God is well pleased as well. She comes by the name of Mrs. Shauna Clay Forrest. She's a native of Nashville, Tennessee, and is the only child of Glenn and Ella Clay. She was educated in the parochial school systems here in Nashville. She graduated from Hume-Fogg Academic High School, received the Presidential Scholarship to attend Tennessee State University, completed her cosmetology career, received her licensure there. From an early age, Shauna has wanted to be an entrepreneur. In 2002, she organized Creative Networking marketing firm, which brought 32 businesses together throughout the city. In 2004, she graduated from TSU with a bachelor's degree in business administration with a concentration in marketing. In 2007, she graduated with a master's in business administration. In May of 2024, Shauna completed her occupational licensure. For the career in technical education, she co-owned Elegant Hair Expressions, which is a full-service salon. In 2009 to 2012, Shauna served as the executive director of Look in the Mirror campaign, which specialized in GED courses. She also served in the Metro Public School system through 2020 to 2024, and currently teaches with Chance Light Educational Services as the cosmetology program instructor for the Juvenile Detention Center. Shauna is just so busy. I tell you what, top 40 under 40 in 2003 through 2009. Who's who among the entrepreneurs? 2010 board member Interdenominational Services, and she is currently the president of Healing Minds and Souls. And I can go on and on and on about this amazing young lady. I've been knowing her before she was born. And we are glad that she's here with us on this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad that you're here. This is going to be so much fun. And so, praise God for you. One of the things that I have often said to Shauna is that she has blessed us all of her life. From the very beginning of its inception, Shauna has been only a blessing to me, to her dad, and to our family, and to the community and all she comes in contact with. And I tell her that if I had known she was going to be so wonderful, I would have had 10 more individuals just like her. And so, Shauna, as we think about your journey, your life, your career paths, can you share with us about how the inception has brought you to where you are now?
Well, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've always wanted to have and work just in my own network of businesses and just to do what my heart desired. So until this point, just really being an outgoing person, always talking to somebody has really just led me to the things that I'm doing today.
And so you're doing so much, right?
Yeah.
And so I needed to say that she's married to Mr. Michael Forrest. and she has 4 amazing children, which are the best grandchildren in the world. Diamond, Jonathan, Micah, and Sean. And so even with your family and all of the various facets of work that you do in cosmetology education, the president of HMS, largely what we're doing, you were the ones that birthed that, and your ideas, God gave you the ideas. So how are you able to do the different facets that you're doing, balancing your life, and then we'll deconstruct the different areas that you work in? But can you speak to that?
It's really nobody but God. I mean, He has to give me all this energy. I do have 4 amazing kids that are all in very different walks of life, very different ages. So it is really, trying to be that balance for them in the stage of life that they're all in. And then again, just doing what my heart desires. Luckily, I have a partner, my husband, who is very understanding and lets me go and do and be what I want to be when I want to be it. And he's just a wonderful man, very easygoing, and it's just like, go ahead, do what you need to do. So that's just how I do it. A lot of prayer, and I try to get sleep whenever I can.
Yeah, just grab it when you can,
Just
right?
grab it when I can.
Because sometimes you're up writing grants at like 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. We certainly honor, respect Michael Forrest, my son in love, and grateful for him, and your mother in love, and just praise God for how God knows how to bring families together for God's glory and to the edification of people. And so I have a lot of questions, but what would you say to a young woman that's married and maybe not even married, and she's looking for a path to get to a better place in life? Maybe she may have children, maybe with a husband, maybe not with a husband. But what would you say to that young woman to give her encouragement, or the young man?
Well, first I would say just follow your dreams. Be true to yourself. Find what you're passionate about, and everything else will follow. I had a desire to be married, but never really looked for marriage or looked for a partner. So when it happened very organically. And I would give that advice to anybody. People go out and they seek husbands and they seek wives all the time, but really let it happen organically. Just be led by the Lord. He'll bring them to you. I promise you, He will. And just be led by the Lord. It may not look like you want it. It may not come in the package that you think it should come. And I think that's a lot of times our hang-ups in life, is that our husbands need to look like this, or our wives need to do this, or look a certain way. And a lot of times that's not where your gift is, or that's not where your blessing is. And so I think just really building organic relationships and really just flowing out of your true self, out of your that inner part, that your soul's realm, really flowing out of that, it opens up everything for you.
I love how you said, you used the word gift, right? How your husband or your wife can be a gift, because oftentimes people may not see their spouses or, their significant other as a gift, but using that word gift is so very, very important. So thank you for that. You got anything else you want to share on that? Did anything else come up for you?
No.
Okay. So let's talk about, again, you have so many different roles and duties in life. And so you were an educator in the public school system, and also you created a program at Juvenile Detention Center. And you and your father, before he transitioned, right, you all came up with an idea that you wanted to do something in juvenile detention, because while the youth are there, they needed to have something that they could focus on that would give them hope.
Right.
And you certainly have done that. And I want you to also talk about, you just did a major HBO, I think they did a documentary on juvenile here in Nashville. I want you to speak to that too. But so let's talk about, how do you see the parental guidance, the retention rate, and even mental health in our school systems? You've been inside, so you know the challenges that exist. What do you think that we could do, or school systems can do better, to help our children be and become all that God has destined for them to do?
as an educator, I've seen a lot. And I would say this, I'm very radical with my beliefs on education. I do believe that there needs to be an education reform in the country. Education should not be done the same way that it's been for the past 50 years. This new generation of children, they're like none that we've ever seen before. They're a lot wiser, a lot smarter. And so some of the things that we were doing is just not working for them. A lot of them are very oriented into business or into making money and really providing opportunities for our youth to actually look into different careers earlier is definitely where education needs to go. With my program down at Juvenile, I've been doing that for about 5 years now. And it started off as a program to give the kids a career outlet. As you know, a lot of the long-term, and I work with the long-term people, the long-term students at Juvenile. And so a lot of them are felons. And as you know, in the United States, it's hard to have a career with felon on your record, okay? It's hard to get housing with the word felon on your record. And so we're talking about people that are under the age of 18 who can't even go into a contract but have already been labeled as a felon. Cosmetology, barbering, gives these kids an opportunity to have a full career with the word felon on their record. Being an entrepreneur allows these children to have a career with the word felon on their record. So that was my hope, and that is my goal, is just to show those kids a different way. A lot of them are very talented. They're very smart business people, but they're just using those talents and skills in the wrong direction for, various ways. And so to give them an avenue where they can actually come and learn a skill, learn how to be an entrepreneur, learn how to write a business plan, learn how to pitch a business plan, learn a skill of hair cutting, nails, barbering, those type of things really help them to see a future for themselves other than what their environment or what they have been told that their future should look like. So that's really the goal with that. You mentioned the documentary. It was on HBO Max. It's still there. It's called Justice USA. It deals with the penal system in Tennessee. So, and it also deals with it from a mental health perspective and also the juvenile detention. It sheds some light on some stories in juvenile as well. But the biggest thing that I see in education and in the jail system is mental health that has not been diagnosed, or it is trauma that has not been properly learned. They haven't properly learned how to deal with the trauma. It's not so much that everybody is just bad, right? Or everybody is just a criminal. But there are certain situations in life that happen that people are not able to express or deal with effectively. And that's what really happens. And that documentary actually spoke to that. It actually spoke to what happens if somebody's in a mental health crisis and there's no mental health crisis team to come. It's just the police, right? And if somebody is manic in that situation, of course it's gonna get physical and they go to jail. It doesn't always have to be. A lot of those things are just people knowing how to deal with them effectively. So I even dare to say, if we're not going to have a crisis team that is going to be on standby 24 hours, 7 days a week, we need to give that education to our police officers that have to show up during those situations. We had a situation Sunday. A man, he said, can you just please call the crisis team, the mental health crisis team? I'm in crisis. He sat on the curb. Well, the police showed up because there was no crisis team available at that time. And even though we were there to diffuse and talk with the officer, and the man was fine, he was calm, but just think if somebody that didn't know how to deal with those type things. We have doctors on staff here. We have mental health professionals on staff here. They were able to diffuse that situation and get that man calm and have him to a state that when the police came, he was just able to talk to them and tell them what was going on. So the documentary kind of deals with that. And it also deals with just the programming and the things that people in the justice system go through. A lot of things that you hear on the news is not true. It's always colored for perception. And so it really dives into those things that were mentioned on the news, but when you come to the reality of it, it was a different story.
I tell you what, thank you so much. So very well stated, well spoken. And I am deeply appreciative of you and for you, not only because you're my daughter, that's one reason, but again, I respect you and I honor you because of the work that you have done. You've always been an advocate. Even as a little child, you have always been an advocate for others. So we certainly appreciate the work that you're doing, have done in the education system, are doing in the education system, and I'm sure will continue to do in some aspects. So we're going to talk about Healing Minds and Souls, but also you recently have been appointed over the 37208 funding, grant funding. Can you share about that and the correct name for this funding? And also, can you share with our audience the ones that may be looking for opportunities to apply for grant and how they would be able to do that?
So I am the newly appointed fund administrator for the 37208 fund. The 37208 fund is the first private participatory grant making process in Nashville. This grant fund was started by our former Vice Mayor Schulman, who brought together during that time Councilman O'Connell, which is now our mayor, and also Councilman Brandon Taylor. They came together and they had a session about what was going on in North Nashville and what were the needs for this community. So they had a big community gathering, and out of the community gathering, what we learned was there were a lot of really good things happening in North Nashville. A lot of acts of love.
Good things? Did you say good things happening?
Good things happening
amazing.
in North Nashville. Yeah. A lot of acts of love, a lot of self-funded programs and things like that. And so what this fund is set up to do is to help people that work, live, minister, and serve in 37208. It is there to help them fund their projects or get their businesses off the ground. We do a lot of funding in the community. This year alone, we have already funded over 11 projects that have gone on in 37208, and we've given away over $100,000 already this year in 37208. So it is a very powerful tool. Our committee is made up of people who actually live, work, and serve in the community. So it's a grant for us, by us. We meet once a month. We are looking for new committee members to sit on our board and to look at these things. We are always taking grant applications, and if you need and would like to submit a grant, we're at the 37208fund.com.
Could you say that again?
The 37208fund.com. You can find us there, and you can submit your application online. We're just in the community trying to do good. I'll just highlight a couple of things that we have sponsored this year. We sponsored a lifeguard academy at Hadley Park that has certified 15 young African Americans to get their lifeguard certification. We also sponsor, it's called Black Motherhood Celebration. Well, it was a celebration for young Black mothers, and they got all free car seats for their children. We have also done things like Soil Soldiers, which they plant trees in our community. And so summer camps, literacy camps, all type of things. We have funded art exhibits in the 37208. So we're just always looking for those innovative and those creative ideas that's out there, and just, trying to partner with people that need help.
Thank you so much. I tell you what, that's a lot that you're doing, and a lot of things have been accomplished through the 37208 funding.
Yes.
And so, who would they contact if they are interested in applying for grants? Is there a person that they need to reach out to, or is there email that you could give them?
Yes, you can reach out directly to me. Our application, the grant application, is actually on the website. So you can go straight to the website and actually apply if anybody is interested in applying for funding. And again, that website is the 37208fund.com. You can go there and you'll see the application. It says apply. You just click it and it'll take you right there to answer the questions. You can also contact me or find me at slclay81@gmail.com. That is my email address. I'll say it again, slclay81@gmail.com.
Okay, thank you so much. I tell you what, just amazing. And God gives us gifts and talents so that we can serve and that we can serve so effectively. And it's when God does that, He just continues to multiply our gifts and talents, right? So there are things that's on the inside of us oftentimes that we're not even aware of that exist. But as we start to work, as we start to give God glory and help humanity, it's amazing what God is able to birth. And with that statement, Healing Minds and Souls. Let's talk about Healing Minds and Souls. And can you talk about the inception of Healing Minds and Souls, and maybe even what was going on in our lives during the time that we knew that we needed to help others? There's something about that. Oftentimes God will call you to do a job. He will call you to do work while you're in your crises. And so in doing the work, it's amazing how God has a way of healing and revealing and just building up a type of organization so that people are being able to be built up and healed and being better in their lives. So can you talk about the inception of HMS?
So HMS, Healing Minds and Souls, it was birthed through a 5-year process with American Baptist College. The first 3 years of the process was with pastors in the area alone, just the pastors discerning what the community needs. So after that, and during that 3-year period, my father transitioned. He was a part of that program, and after he passed, we got a call from American Baptist College and said, hey, we know Pastor Clay is no longer with us, but we still want you all to be a part of this program. And so we said, okay. We didn't know anything about it, but we said, okay, we're going to be a part of it. And that was right in, I guess, 2019. And so, as you know, that was pre-COVID. So we joined the cohort and started discerning, the things that our community needed. Where did our community need to go? And shortly after that, we had a tornado, the 37208 tornado, that really came through this neighborhood and really tore it up. It just tore it up. And so during that time, we had so many people just ascend on this neighborhood to help those in need, to help those that really couldn't help themselves at that time. Well, right after the tornado, maybe a month or so after, COVID happened and everything shut down. So during that time of COVID, we could see the trauma. We saw the hurt, the destitute in our community and the things that needed to be helped. So that's when we knew that we had to address mental health and trauma-informed care in our community. We knew that we had to address the food insecurity that was happening in our community. We knew that we had to address the undeserved community and their basic needs of life. And so that is how the inception of Healing Minds and Souls came about. Since that time, we have served with almost 100,000 meals in the community since 2022. We have also done just so many wonderful things. We have weekly classes that deal with trauma-informed care. We have a class for men, we have a class for women, we have a class for children. We also have a faith and finance class that deals with financial literacy and really how to deal with your money. And we also have a class on the story of God that really just talks about the different teachings and lessons of Jesus and how he walked this earth.
Thank you so much. I tell you what, and God is allowing us to do so many amazing things. We have a resource center as well.
Yes.
And so individuals are able to come in to shop for their personal hygiene products, for their housing products. They're able to shop for groceries, produce, whatever they need. We have a resource center where people are able to come and shop for free. Also, we are garden, right? We have our garden outside. And God just continues to allow his power and the results of our work come to pass in so many, many great ways. And so you are very, very instrumental as it relates to allowing Healing Minds and Souls to flourish, to grow. And you're putting systems and things in place so we're able to do that better. Can we talk about your many roles that you do here with Healing Minds and Souls as it relates to grant writing? You are one of our grant writers, and we certainly need those funds so that we can continue to help serve the community. You do so much. So can you just share just a little bit about what that looks like?
Okay, well, I do have many roles here, but I love it all. It's all a joy to do. So I am a grant writer for Healing Minds and Souls. And with that role, we do look for funds that are aligned to our mission and that will also further our mission. Right now, we're having a really big heart for fatherhood and really just restoring the family back with the fathers. We have a really big Juneteenth celebration that's coming up on June 15th on the corner. So we need as many people to that as possible. We also, in our Trauma Healing for Men class, we send the men on a 3-day retreat so they can get away from just the regular everyday stressors of life and just really convene with nature and themselves, just to heal themselves. Because men, I think, are very undervalued in our community right now, even though they're the key to having a positive and flourishing society and family communities. They're being very undervalued right now. So really taking those men in and really loving on them and just letting them know that they are worthy is where a lot of our focus is right now, as well as with our children, to let them know, just to give them tools to help with life. Give them tools to help situations that they go through in life. And so that's the grant writing. I also help prepare meals every Sunday. We do a community dinner. And a lot of times you'll find me in the kitchen cooking or preparing meals so that we can serve about 50 people every Sunday during our class session. And so that's really been a great joy. And I facilitate classes if needed. I garden if needed. Whatever is needed, I'm going to do it. And I just enjoy doing it. I enjoy working with the community. I enjoy being a part of this community. So it's all just a joy to do.
And you do everything well. You are, like I said, amazing. We recently took a trip, we as in Healing Minds and Souls staff, took a trip to Cape Town, South Africa. Mm-hmm. And I tell you what, we will never be the same for the things that came out of that trip. It changed us in really, really good ways. And so can you speak a little bit about that and how you were just the things that resonated deeply within inside you? What were your takeaways before you went there and then coming back? Can you share?
Well, before going to Cape Town, I really didn't have an expectation. I tried to go into that situation just with an open mind. I knew we were going to be there a little bit over like 2 weeks. So I just said, okay, we're going to go, whatever happens, happens. But what I left with was a sense of gratitude. A sense of gratitude for what we have here in the United States. A lot of times we look at our situations and they may not be perfect. They may not be what we think they should be or how they should go. But what I learned is there is always someone in worse shape, or there's always somebody in a different shape that is thankful for what they have. And so just going and coming back, I just realized how grateful we should be. Going over there, what really kind of resonated with me was their education system. I guess because I'm a teacher, excuse me, and I have kids, but their education system, they have to pay for education. No matter how old you are, there's no free education in South Africa. And they have a 60% unemployment rate in South Africa. So you think of 60% of their people are unemployed. How are they going to be able to send their kids to school? They can't. So you have generations of kids that are not in school. Or you have families that are having to choose by year. 1 year we're going to send our daughter to school. The next year she has to sit out and we send our son to school. So that really just, to me, especially as an educator and seeing our children here not value education, it really was an eye-opening experience for me that we just have to be more grateful for what we have here. A lot of times, like I said, we think we have it a certain way, but there's always somebody that has it worse than us. And so just experiencing that, and then experiencing just talking to the people and hearing their stories, I mean, they are triumphant in everything they did, even traveling across Africa to a different area that they knew nothing about, knew no one there, but in search of a better life. That really stood out to me, and it also made us think that we were invited back in this coming year, next year, 2025, to actually hold a trauma healing conference in Cape Town, South Africa. So we're gearing up for that, and we're planning for that conference over there, and just to really pour into those people and really let them know that they are amazing. They are resilient. They're fascinating. We met individuals that were homeless but could speak 8 different languages. And just talking to them, and we're like, you should do this and you should do that. And even though we're giving people those ideas or those things to do, we have to remember they might not even have access to internet to be even to do that job. And here in America, everybody has access to internet. They had something that was called load shedding, and that's when the government turns off their power for maybe 4 to 6 hours a day. Just turns it off. No reason, no rhyme. It's just we need to save on our electricity bill. So we're just going to cut off everybody's electricity. Or even seeing how the caste system that they had in South Africa and how it translated into their neighborhoods, where their neighborhoods were very segregated, right? You had your coloreds living here, your blacks living here, and your whites living in a different neighborhood.
And you could tell. Can you share what colors? Could you give the idea of what colors?
So the caste system, you had, they were grouped in 3 different groups of people. Whites, which were your white Africans, or your transplants to Africa, but if they were of white or European descent. Then you had your colored, which were either light-skinned people or light-skinned Africans or mixed race Africans, right? They were known as your colored. And then you had your blacks, or your blacks, which were your dark-skinned Africans. And that's how they were segregated, and that's how they were treated. The guy told us that even though Africa or South Africa, Cape Town, is a predominantly black city or place, continent, their caste system was the white people were paid more, the mixed people were paid in the medium, and then the black people were paid the least. And when you think about that, and you think about Nelson Mandela and his apartheid and things like that, he was saying that they're beginning to try to turn that system the other way. But of course, those that are in power are trying to hold on and to keep it how it is. And so when you think about that, and you think about, a predominantly black continent, and you let other people come over here and flip it upside down, and somehow they begin to be at the top of the ladder, it was really just kind of like heart-wrenching to know, and just to see the devastation in those people's lives, especially with the unemployment rate being so high.
Thank you for that. So you talked about how oftentimes children within the United States take education so for granted, and then the individuals that we were able to be involved with, communicate with, engage, they wanted education so bad. I mean, they were really serious about it. Whatever they could do to get it, they were trying to get it. What do you think is making a difference here in the United States? What do you see that's going on with our children, with our culture, and why is it such sometimes a lethargic type of way of even thinking about education? Mm-hmm. What do you think, again, being in the education system, you are a mother as well, and young enough to have an idea of what may be impacting that mindset?
I think a lot of things are impacting the mindset. I think one thing I do know is that COVID, having that year and a half out of school, it really showed our kids that maybe education wasn't as important as they thought it should be. During COVID, and I taught high schoolers, so during COVID, a lot of my high schoolers, even though they didn't go to school, mama said, you got to go to work. So they went out and got full-time jobs. So it's hard to go from working 40 hours a week to going back to school for 40 hours a week, and you're not bringing any money home to contribute to the house, right? We all know that life is expensive right now. Prices are skyrocketing. The rent in Nashville is extremely high. And when you think of a single mother who has 2 or more kids, trying to provide rent, trying to provide food, clothes, just the basic necessities, it's very hard. And so you see a lot of parents starting to lean on their older kids to help in the household, and not just help clean up, but to help pay bills in the household. That's one thing. Social media, the internet, these kids have a lot of access to the internet. And we know that the internet or social media is cultivated to give a certain persona, right? It sends a certain message to our young people. So the message that they're seeing is not necessarily the message of reality of what everyday life should be or everyday life is like. A lot of different video games, they talk about the video games and how it takes the empathy out of our kids and the compassion out of our kids. So you're seeing a lot of that they really don't understand. I am my brother's keeper. Mm-hmm. They don't understand those words, or they don't understand, looking out for older people or looking out for just younger people. They don't understand it. It's all about me, my, and I, and what I can get. So you have a lot of different dynamics, from what I see. You have a lot of different dynamics going on with the education and with just society as a whole. And like I said earlier, education needs to be revamped. We can't keep doing education the same way that we used to do. I would even dare to say that we need to go to a shorter educational week, maybe where you have maybe 3 or 4 days in the classroom and then 2 or more days in the field learning how to do different career paths. And I'm talking about starting this elementary on up. Mm-hmm. Our kids need to be exposed to more career-oriented things versus just fast cars, money, clothes, things like that. Their focus is more on materialistic wealth, right? gaining those materialistic things, wearing the Gucci, wearing the Fendi, wearing the Louis Vuitton, but not so much as what did it take to actually get there, or what does it really take to actually be able to afford those things, right? I saw so many kids, and I know it's an old cliche, the kids come to school with the Jordans on their feet and no pen and paper in their backpacks. It's true. Schools provide pencil and paper for our kids because we know that they're not going to have it, but yet they buy $300 purple jeans. So there is definitely a financial literacy that needs to be taught in elementary school from day one. That definitely needs to be taught, because I think, like I said, because of what society pumps in us on a daily basis, as far as social media and things like that, of what success may look like, or what success wears, our concept of life, our concept of community has definitely been altered. Because there are so many fathers and mothers that are incarcerated now, our concept of community, our concept of family has been altered, and that it spills over into the school system. We have kids all the time in the school system that are out of control, right? They're doing what they want to do, saying what they want to do, acting how they want to act. And when we call the mother or home, either she's not picking up, or she's like, well, I don't have time to come up there, I'm busy. I don't think that mother doesn't care. And from my experience, it's not that she doesn't care. It's that she's trying to provide a life for her kids. And just those stressors and those just everyday just hassles of life, I think we're having a lot of kids that are having to raise themselves because mothers are working 2 and 3 jobs at a time. Or we're having a lot of kids that's having to, wake their siblings up and take their siblings to school before they come to school. And that increases your absenteeism because elementary school starts later than high school, right? So I may have to miss my first or second block because I got to take my little sister to school. And those things, those key things, and that's a lot of what's going on, those key things, they're not given voice to in the school system, and they're not, there's no real answer for any of it. But I think if we could just kind of take a step back and really evaluate some of the things that are going on, I think we will do a better job at preparing our future, as in our kids, for what's to come in life.
For what's to come in life. Thank you so much. And as we go to a close, I just want to lift up this thought that there are some things, although we have changed drastically, technology, this AI, and all of the very fast things that's going on in society, but some things remain the same. And one of the things, and I just want to get your take on this as we come to a close, there is something to say for families that continue to keep God as the center of their lives. It's something to say for families that continue to bring their children to church, letting them know that there still should be respect for themselves, for their families, and for elderly individuals. That was what we saw in Africa, how they still had a respect for the mature people, for elderly people in their community. So as we come to a close, what would you say as it relates how do you think we have not been consistent in teaching our children about God? The Word of God says to teach your children so they can teach their children, and each generation can continue to build upon the things of God. What's your thoughts as it relates to that as we come to our close today?
I agree with that. We have not been consistent of teaching our children not only the ways of God, but our history. And like the saying goes, if you don't know where you came from, you're destined to repeat it. If you don't know your history, you're destined to repeat it. I've had many kids tell me, "Oh, I've never seen my grandmama go to church." But I've seen her drink, I've seen her shoot a gun, I've seen her, smoke weed. I mean, just all kind of various things. But yet they never seen their grandmother go to church. And so when you hear things like that, it's like, wow, I can't be mad at you for cussing me out because you don't know. I mean, that's what you do in your house. And so I think that, and that was one thing that we really did see in Africa, no matter how wrong, how mean, or just whatever, those people respected their elders. They respected their elders, and they understood that with age comes wisdom. And that they needed to listen to whatever that person was saying, because maybe they knew of a consequence that the younger person did not know of. So in our society, we definitely have to get back to teaching our kids about God, our kids about the ways of God and those things, those truths of God. And we also need to get back to just respecting each other more, respecting our elders more, and not looking at our elders like, oh, you're old, washed up, you don't know anything. But actually listen to those wisdoms. Because one thing's for sure, the older you get, the more you realize the things your mother told you are true. No matter how much society has changed, how much internet access you got to, you realize some things do not change. Some things remain the same. So definitely getting back to just respecting each other, respecting our community, respecting our loved ones, knowing that if somebody is saying something to you, that is to help and benefit you. And we don't always have to agree, but I'm trying to help you and to teach you something better.
Thank you so much, Miss Shauna Clay Forrest. We are again
you.
grateful that you're here on today. And there is something to say about when you honor your mother and your father still. The Bible says it's the first commandment with the promise that your days will be long upon the earth. It also says that wisdom is the principal thing, and all they're getting, get an understanding, get wisdom, because wisdom will take you far. Thank you so much for joining us on today. We look forward to seeing you next week. God bless you.